buyers that we are working with are paying with cash. We're not using bank money. Bank money is hard to get, and bank money, even in construction lending, not for spec homes, but pre-sold home, the lending criteria have become so strict and so onerous that buyers who can are using their own funds to fund the construction of their home. In many instances, they're going to use their funds during the 90 days or 100 days it takes to build a home, and then they'll get a mortgage. Or some of them don't need a mortgage. It's just straight from us to them. They move into ownership once the home is completed and occupiable. But it's an interesting phenomenon. I think that banks have really pulled back on their lending and been forced to make their lending criteria stiffer or harder and harder to get loans. There are some builders out there that cannot get construction loans. Simply cannot get construction loans. Those guys that are doing it still, the construction loan has to be in the name of the buyer. And that's okay, but that costs the buyer more money. It's not cheaper. That's an illusion that if I get my construction loan and I'm a buyer, that's going to cost me less money than if my builder gets it. The size of homes that we do is going to cost you about $1,600 to $2,500 more because of the additional points that they charge, the additional title that they charge. So that's one thing that I've noticed. The thing that I'm noticing is we have investors who are coming to us, who are willing to lend us the money for construction loans. So we're not even having to use banks in every instance anymore. They can make good money at it. And it's actually cheaper than using a bank because the investors don't require all the title insurances and the appraisals. They don't have this huge overhead that they've got to cover with quote points. So when you take the total dollars required to build a home, the construction financing cost using an investor is less than, in some cases, less than using a bank. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that the banks have clamped down, because at one point the banks were lending to anybody who wanted to call themselves a builder. They didn't have to have any equity or any strength or any track record, any reputation, just basically some guy who wants to call himself a builder could go out and get a construction line and start speccing homes. This is what caused the problem, So yeah, the banks in many instances created the problem, and now the banks are going to get left in the dirt. I think they're just going to get left behind in many instances. The phone is ringing a lot. We're getting a lot of inquiries. Some are just coming straight off the web. Some are coming from phone calls. They know our company, referrals from family members or friends, and realtors are bringing us a lot of business right now. So contrary to popular belief, building is not dead. There's only a couple of dozen builders left in the valley here that are still pulling permits, and really, that's probably not a bad thing for the moment.